you up in boom, 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 boom. Tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Oh, 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 life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong, plans would come true. Ain't a ding dong, spend my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart.
So I thought I'd take this little opportunity to make a video about my green truck. It's been requested a few times to talk about my green truck a little more, so that's what I'm doing. I bought this truck brand new in 1994. I needed a new truck. At the time I was doing satellite installations for, I don't know, it was like three or four little companies, and I was doing contracts, satellite installations with those big 8 and 10 foot mesh discs, mostly 8 foot. Anyway, I needed a new truck, so I was in the market for a truck. And honestly, I was never a big Ford truck guy. In fact, at one time, I really disliked Ford. Not for any particular reason. I think it's just because everybody in my family owned Chevy trucks. With the exception of my grandpa, he owned Ford trucks at one time. And I didn't. Better put my seatbelt on. I didn't really have anything against Ford. And so I decided I would take a look. So comparing apples to apples, a Ford truck was just a little bit cheaper than a Chevrolet at the time. And so I decided that's what I was going to go with. And if I was going to be the black sheep of the family, then so be it. So I test drove several trucks, and I ended up driving one at a dealership that I really liked. And I don't really remember the details on it. I think it was kind of a reddish color. But I do know it had a dent in the bed on the right-hand side. And boy, the salesman he was like, well, we can get that fixed before you buy it and this and that. And I'm thinking, you've got lines of other trucks here. There's no way I'm going to buy a truck that needs body work right from the get-go. So he was pretty pushy about it, and it kind of turned me off from that dealership. So I went down to another dealership in Des Moines called Mid-States Ford down on East 14th Street. They're not there anymore. I don't think Mid-Street. They moved out to another town at one time, but I don't think they're even around anymore. I think they got bought out. Anyway, I drove down there, and this truck was sitting in the front line, and I believe it was 4 in from the end. And I've always kind of liked green anyway, but I saw this truck with the green and the white, and I really liked it. So I had them dig this truck out, I test drove it, and I ended up buying it. And of course they had to do their cleaning up and everything. So I went down and I got it the next day. I remember vividly driving it home that day. I never drove it for the first 5. I'm big on breaking new vehicles in, firm believer in that. And I know for the first 500 miles, I don't think I went over 45 miles an hour, and no hard acceleration or anything like that at all. Changed the oil at 5,000 miles, went to 1,000 miles. I don't think I ever went over 50. Changed the oil again. Then at 1,500, I changed the oil again. And at that time, it was kind of a big thing back then. I used Slick 50 in it, which I don't think I would do again. I just don't think I would use it again. But apparently it didn't cause any problems, as I have 268,000 miles on this truck now with no problems. And then after that, I started driving it a little more normal. I still took it pretty easy for quite a while. So that is how purchasing this truck came about. It's a 1994 F150 XLT. It's got 302, 5-speed, and pretty much every option with the exception of the remote mirrors. And there's probably something else that I'm missing, but it has pretty much everything. And at the time, I paid $18,000 for it. The sticker on it was 21, and I paid 18. No trade-in or anything like that. So then after buying the truck, I had it decked out with a bunch of DZ stuff, all the bright tread, the bed caps, front box protector, tailgate protector, running boards, which were pretty popular at the time, and it did look pretty sharp, all bright and shiny. And the first year I put about 30,000 miles on it, running all over the state. So it was driven as my daily driver. It was the vehicle I had to drive, and I drove it everywhere, through everything, all the snow and salt and sand and crap and everything. And that went on for about 6 years. After 6 years, of course, that's the same time that the rust protection that I had put on, the warranty ran out on that, was the first sign of rust on the body. And that was above the left rear wheel. I always kept it washed and waxed, and I tried to wash everything I possibly could in the wintertime, up, underneath, around and around, but it still got to it. And after probably 7 or 8 years, it got to the point where you just couldn't hide it anymore, and it also started to take place on the right side. And once that started, it pretty much went downhill from that. And the front fenders got it, and the rockers got it, and the cab corners got it, and it wasn't looking real good. The paint and everything, where it wasn't rusty, still looked good. It was in good shape, shined up nice, and it still looked pretty decent even when I washed it. And I kept it washed and waxed even though it was still rusty. Most of the Ford trucks around these parts are rusty because of the road salt. So it was my daily driver clear up until 2010, I believe. So that would be 16 years that I drove it all the time. And at that time, I had bought my Tahoe in 2005, and it's I think 2005 or 6, and it's a 99. And I bought it with 62,000 miles on it. And I started driving that more in 2010. And this didn't get a lot of miles put on it. But I did drive it some, and right around that time, it was 2010, 11, 12, right in there, I replaced every U-joint on the truck, ball joints, bearings, everything. All the joints on it got greasable joints, so there's like 15 places or 20 or something to grease on this thing now, but that's good. I also had the oil pan replaced at that time, and I don't remember what else. I do know I had it replaced because I just didn't have time to do it, and they could see up in the bottom part of the engine, of course, and they told me this truck may die, but it won't be from that engine. They said it is clean as could be, still has the factory cross hatching on the cylinder walls. I've kept the oil change in this truck religiously. It's only gone past 3,000 miles one time its entire life. And I've always used Pennzoil. Some people won't agree with that. Not meaning to start an argument about oil here, but that's the only oil I've ever used in any vehicle I've ever had, and I've never had any problems whatsoever. Anyway, so then about, I think it was 2012, it's one of my first videos. Well, I had a ticking noise in it. That was my very first video that I put up. And that ended up being an exhaust leak on the manifold. I could not figure out what that was at the time. And then I replaced all the suspension. There's a video on that as well. Not a very good video in my opinion, but a video nonetheless. I think it was the second video I did, something like that. And I replaced all the suspension, all the hangers, had to cut out all those rivets and everything on the frame. Yeah, that was fun. After that, let's see, I leveled it with just new springs in the front and an alignment, which I think I only put about 1,000 miles on it with those springs after it was leveled and so forth. And then I decided, well, I was actually in the market for a new truck, and I came about this close to buying a new truck, and then I decided, why not put that money back into this truck? This has been the best truck I could have ever asked for, and what can a new truck do that this one can't? So I started redoing this truck technically in 2013, I believe, but I didn't really get started on it until 2014. I think the summer of 2014, or maybe even the fall. I don't remember. I have videos on all that. I did all the work to it. I did everything myself. I had absolutely no help on it whatsoever, except my son helped me take the bed off. My wife did help me tape it and everything when I painted. And then I had my dad, my brother-in-law, my nephew come over, and they helped put the bed back on the truck. But other than that, I did everything 100% by myself, which I'm pretty proud of. I'd never done any type of body work or paint or anything before, and I think it turned out pretty darn good. So that's a little bit of a history on this truck. I don't know if I covered it real well. I'm gonna do a video as well on everything that I've done to that truck. I have an envelope in the house that's about that thick, full of receipts. I've never gone through them all, and I don't know what they might add up to. I'm half afraid to find out, but I think that's gonna be an upcoming video, and I will explain everything I've done to this truck and what it cost, if I can cut it down so it isn't like 2 hours long. Don't forget about the license plate wall. Still want to get as many license plates as I can from around the country and or world. So go ahead and send those in, or anything else that you would like to see show up on the channel. The link is in the description below. So this was just a short little update on the green truck, a little bit about it, a little bit about me, and there's gonna be more coming on that truck. I do want to do a video on how much it cost to redo it. I've had that asked several times, and I'm kind of curious myself, as I've never added it up. I have an idea, but I don't know if it's accurate or not. So give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.